In today's world, the city comes alive at night. At 10 o'clock, the streets shimmer with neon lights and pulse with energy, laughter echoing from bars and KTV lounges. Outside one such KTV, a group of coworkers celebrated a major milestone. "Brother Zhao, didn't you take the night off for your wife?" a colleague called out, half drunkenly swaying by the taxi. "We just finished our Game of Thrones launch test. You're bailing too early." Zhao Fei, already holding the taxi door open, smiled. "You guys enjoy. I want to share this moment with my wife. She's been with me through it all." At 26, Zhao Fei was already the development director at one of the country's top game studios. He and his team had just completed the final round of testing on their new game, a project they poured over a year of sweat and sacrifice into. In 2 days, the official release would go live. He was also a newlywed, madly in love with the woman he had spent years chasing. To him, she wasn't just his wife. She was the reason he stayed grounded. "Of course, Brother Zhao," the colleague laughed. "With a wife like that, I'd be rushing home too. Go have a good night. Save your nonsense. Just finish tonight's tab. I'll reimburse it tomorrow." Zhao Fei chuckled, sliding into the back seat. "And don't be late for the launch conference." As the car pulled away, Zhao Fei gave the driver an address. "Huayuan Community on Yugong Avenue, please." "Right away, sir." The driver glanced in the mirror. "Buying property there?" "Not yet. Renting for now," Zhao Fei replied, gazing out at the city skyline. "But hopefully I'll be buying soon." His heart swelled with pride. He had promised his wife and her mother that he'd buy a home in the city. After all their hardships, that promise was within reach. The game's release might just be the breakthrough they needed. Even if real estate prices were high, the down payment wouldn't be out of reach if the game took off. The taxi pulled to a stop. "Huayuan Community. That'll be 23 yuan. "Perfect," Zhao Fei smiled, pulling some bills from his wallet. "Thanks and good night." With that, he stepped out, excitement building with every stride. He had told his wife he'd be home around midnight, but arriving early might make for a perfect surprise. From his pocket, he pulled a small velvet box. Inside was a delicate diamond ring. Not extravagant, but bought with every saved coin, every walk and step cab ride. A small token of love for the woman who had stood by him during countless sleepless nights, brainstorming and editing alongside him. "She's going to love this," Zhao Fei whispered to himself, grinning under the streetlight. He reached his apartment door, gently turned the key, and stepped inside. The lights were off. He figured she was asleep. Quietly, he turned on his phone flashlight and walked to the shoe rack, only to freeze. A pair of unfamiliar men's leather shoes sat neatly beside his. Confused, Zhao Fei frowned. "A guest? But she never lets anyone into our bedroom." Silently, he approached the bedroom. As he neared, soft panting sounds drifted from within. Familiar, intimate. Zhao Fei's heart dropped. He clutched his head, trying to banish the horrific thought, but then he heard a man's voice. Low, breathless, confirming the unthinkable. "Dong Yishuan," Zhao Fei roared, pounding on the door. "Come out. What the hell are you doing in there?" The bedroom exploded into chaos. Moments later, Zhao Fei's wife stumbled out, hair tangled, her clothes hastily thrown on. "H honey, why are you home so early?" "I thought." "Who's in there?" Zhao Fei growled. She lowered her head, silent. Zhao Fei shoved past her and burst into the room. A man stood there, adjusting his expensive watch with a smug expression. He didn't even flinch. "You," Zhao Fei hissed. "Dong Yishuan, explain yourself." "And you," he turned to his wife, voice shaking. "Who is he to you? What the hell were you doing?" His wife exhaled slowly, regaining composure. She straightened her clothes, met his eyes, and spoke coldly. "You saw it. There's nothing more to say. Let's get a divorce." Zhao Fei stood frozen, the words echoing like thunder. "A divorce." His mind went blank. The ring box slipped from his fingers and hit the floor with a soft thud. "What?" Zhao Fei's voice trembled as if the ground beneath him had vanished. His wife's words struck like thunder. "I said I want a divorce," Dong Yishuan repeated coldly. "After what happened tonight, do you really think we can still live together?" Zhao Fei stood frozen, stunned into silence. His heart twisted painfully. Even after everything he just witnessed, the betrayal, the humiliation, he still loved her. That truth was the cruelest cut of all. His voice dropped, turning icy. "Have you thought this through?" "I've thought about it for a long time," she replied, folding her arms across her chest. "I've been with him for over 6 months now. The love between us, it's been gone for even longer. I just didn't know how to tell you." Zhao Fei's eyes widened in disbelief. 6 months? We've only been married for a year, and half of it you spent cheating on me. There's no point dragging this out. Dong Yishuan's tone was final. You've treated me well, I won't deny that. But I've wasted a year with you, and I'm done. Tianhua, let's go. She turned to the man behind her, the same one Zhao Fei had found in their bedroom, and made for the door. Stop right there. Zhao Fei snapped, fury erupting as he blocked their path. You think you could just walk away like this? Before he could say more, Tianhua lunged. His fist flew, but Zhao Fei dodged barely. A brutal kick followed, landing hard in Zhao Fei's abdomen. The pain was blinding. He crumpled to the floor, gasping. Tianhua stood over him, sneering. No money, no strength. Yishuan wasted a year on you. She should be sainted, not blamed. He turned to leave, his voice dripping with mockery. I'm a regional karate champion. Don't humiliate yourself further. Just sign the divorce papers. Dong Yishuan took off her wedding ring, dropped it onto the table like trash, and walked out with Tianhua without looking back. Zhao Fei remained curled on the floor, trembling, not from pain, but from the storm raging inside him. His fists clenched, his teeth ground against each other. Eventually, he stood. He staggered to the nightstand and snatched the wedding photo from its frame. The smiling face of the woman he had once cherished stared back at him. She was everything to me, he whispered bitterly. I would have starved if it meant feeding her. And now, with a guttural scream, Zhao Fei hurled the photo against the wall, watching the glass shatter like the illusion of his perfect marriage. Everything had ended too quickly, too violently, like being hit by a truck in the dark. He stumbled across the room, dazed, heart torn open. The home they had built now felt like a crypt. Ah! His scream echoed through the apartment. Desperate to numb the pain, Zhao Fei raided the kitchen. Bottles of wine, beer, even cheap baijiu. He emptied them into himself without pause. Each sip burned, but dulled the agony just a little more. The next morning, ding, 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 Zhao Fei stirred beneath a pile of empty bottles, his head pounding. He grabbed at the noise and pulled his phone to his ear. Hello. His voice was hoarse and bitter. Minister, why are you only picking up now? Came the panicked voice of colleague. Zhao Fei rubbed his throbbing temple. What's going on? It's urgent. One of our rival companies just released a game identical to our Game of Thrones. Same title, same concept. It's a direct copy. What? They just held a press conference. I sent you the link. Watch it now. Zhao Fei tapped the link. The video loaded, and there he was, the man from last night. Tianhua, standing proudly on stage, shamelessly presenting the game Zhao Fei had spent a year building with his team. He didn't even change the name. Fury erupted in Zhao Fei's chest. His hands shook as he tossed the phone aside. You bastard. You took my wife and stole my game. He staggered to his desk, a fire of vengeance burning in his eyes. That woman, I still defended her, felt guilty for suspecting her. And all along she was feeding him our ideas. He slammed his fist into the desk. You fool, Zhao Fei. You gave everything to a backstabbing witch. Rage mixed with heartbreak. He raised his hand and slapped himself hard across the face. Snap out of it, he screamed at his reflection in the dark monitor. She betrayed you. He destroyed your future. Are you going to stay broken? No, he muttered through clenched teeth. I'll remake the game. I'll take it back. I'll make them regret ever touching what I created. Zhao Fei yanked open his original game files, desperate to find a way to reinvent it. But every element had been designed over hundreds of sleepless nights. The system was already so refined, so complete, there was no room left to revise. He felt helpless. Then, are you ready to enter the Game of Thrones? A mechanical voice echoed from the speakers. Zhao Fei jerked upright. What the hell? An ad? He looked around. The monitor went black. Suddenly, a strange hum filled the room. He bent toward the power socket, assuming it was a faulty connection. The moment his fingers touched it, a jolt of electricity surged through his body. His muscles spasmed. His limbs convulsed. In the next instant, everything went dark.
Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
After an unknown amount of time, Zhao Fei felt that the surrounding air seemed to become particularly fresh in a coma. It felt like returning to his hometown in the countryside when he was a child. There was no pollution in the air, which made people extremely comfortable. Am I going to heaven? Zhao Fei said to himself, and opened his eyes, and then there was a smell of blood. The head of a male lion appeared in front of his eyes. Seeing that Zhao Fei opened his eyes, the lion roared at Zhao Fei with its fangs shining, which made Zhao Fei jump to the ground immediately in fright. Fuck! When Zhao Fei saw the bloody mouth, he immediately jumped up from the ground and ran away in a hurry. I saw the blue light emanating from the male lion, glaring at Zhao Fei. He let out another roar and rushed towards him. Zhao Fei was so frightened that he rolled and crawled and ran away. Am I dreaming? But this dream is so real. Zhao Fei thought suspiciously. Welcome to Game of Thrones. A female voice with an announcer accent sounded in Zhao Fei's mind. Start imbuing you with the memories of this life now. The female voice continued, and then everything around Zhao Fei, including himself, stood still, as if suspended. The lion with the blue light just stayed in the air without moving. What the hell is this? Zhao Fei said strangely. As soon as Zhao Fei finished speaking, all the memories of a person from childhood to adulthood entered his mind. From just remembering to growing up, all the things entered Zhao Fei's head at once, and he also found that his body and appearance had changed a lot. The current body has blonde hair, a tall nose bridge and blue eyes, and there's an aristocratic atmosphere all over his body, and he looks much more handsome than he used to be. He also learned that this body was called Jason Ryan, and his father was the king of the southern border of this continent. The leader of the Ryan family, one of the 6 major families in the New World, Don Ryan. Jason Ryan, on the other hand, is an out-and-out playboy who only knows how to eat, drink, and have fun. He is a complete waste. Although it is Don Ryan's only seedling, it is still considered a shame by Don Ryan. This is me, Reborn. The past of Jason's life flashed through Zhao Fei's mind like a movie and was deeply imprinted in Zhao Fei's mind, becoming his memory. Zhao Fei also learned from Jason Ryan's memory that there is a supreme power in this world. That is anger, and people who possess anger are called anger masters. Anger is divided into 3 states: armed anger that can strengthen body functions. There's also perceived rage and deterred rage. However, only Wrath Masters with high talent levels can perceive anger. No matter how strong the Wrath Masters of D and C levels are, they will not be able to obtain these 2 kinds of power. And the deterrent anger is only available to S ranks, who are rare in 100 years, and some people can't even see it in their entire lives. Among them, armed anger is the most common, as long as there are people with anger. The stronger the anger, the stronger the armed anger will be. The weakest one is equivalent to none, and the strong one can even kill a bison with 1 punch. And the anger in this world is inherently divided into grades. The anger level is divided into 5 levels: D, C, B, A, and S. A stronger anger level can bring stronger boosts to people, just like a C level and a B level. Even if the 2 of them have the same amount of anger, the B-level Anger Master will be much stronger than the C-level Anger Master. Moreover, these levels are innate and cannot be upgraded. When a person is born, the level of anger is predetermined and cannot be upgraded the day after tomorrow. So here, the fate of your life is almost determined when you are born. And Zhao Fei's reborn Jason Ryan is just the worst D-rank Anger Master. It's just no better than normal people. Hey, what a Jason Ryan. Just another Luadu. He has such a good family background. Zhao Fei sighed. Zhao Fei also felt that his luck was really on his back. He was finally reborn as a member of a big family, but he was a waste. The novice guide is over. Please get ready. 5, 4, 3. The system in Zhao Fei's mind started a countdown. Boom, 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 boom. Zhao Fei looked at the blood-spitting lion in front of him, and then listened to the countdown in his mind. His heartbeat accelerated rapidly. Is this going to start making me desperate? Anyway, I have nothing now and have nothing to worry about. Come on. By the way, let me try this guy's anger to see if it works. Zhao Fei thought to himself, releasing blue anger with his hands. Judging from the color, it is obviously much weaker than the blue anger on the lion. But now there is no better way, and Zhao Fei can bite the bullet. 1. As the countdown of the system ended, everything around returned to normal. With a roar, the lion jumped directly at Zhao Fei. Zhao Fei, who had never experienced such a scene, suddenly lost his legs and sat on the ground. But Zhao Fei didn't stop and quickly rolled around a few times to avoid the lion's attack. MD. Really disappointing. Zhao Fei hit the ground heavily with his fist. He really couldn't overcome the cowardice deep in his heart. Zhao Fei's personality has been relatively gentle since he was a child. He doesn't like to argue with others. Most of the time, he tolerates it as long as he can, breaking his teeth and swallowing it in his own stomach. People around him thought he was a good man, and he himself thought that good people would always be rewarded. But over the years, he has lived like a puppet. No matter how wronged he is, he will always consider the people around him first. But now that his wife has been robbed, his hard work has been robbed, and he has such a chance to be reborn, Zhao Fei no longer wants to be a good old man who serves others. Zhao Fei picked up a sharp stone from the ground, attached a trace of anger to the stone, and stroked hard on his left arm. With the blessing of anger, the tip of the stone became abnormally sharp. Zhao Fei swiped hard and cut through the skin of his left arm in an instant, leaving a long wound on his left arm, and the blood quickly followed. It flowed out from the wound. The lion was stunned when it saw Zhao Fei's action and stood there staring at Zhao Fei. From today onwards, whoever offends me will be punished, Zhao Fei said with a vicious expression. His whole body was filled with blue anger, and he smashed the stone with his blood on the lion. Come on, you will be my first dead soul, Zhao Fei shouted to the lion. At this moment, Zhao Fei's blood as a man finally burst out. This moment is the most angry moment in his life. The lion was not a vegetarian either, and the stone that hit it in the face also angered it. Ah! The lion roared and rushed towards Zhao Fei quickly. Zhao Fei gritted his teeth and stiffened his head, not letting himself run away, clenched his fist, and punched the lion on the head at the right time. Bang! Zhao Fei's fist hit the lion's head hard. But although Zhao Fei's fist has anger blessing, but the lion has a stronger benevolent anger blessing. It didn't hurt at all when Zhao Fei's fist hit it on the head. The lion threw Zhao Fei to the ground with its two front paws, and the front paws pressed firmly on Zhao Fei's chest. A big lion weighing nearly -Gene was pressed on Zhao Fei's chest, and Zhao Fei was so pressed that he couldn't breathe. If it wasn't for the anger that supported Zhao Fei's chest, it would probably be crushed. The lion opened its mouth wide and was about to bite Zhao Fei's head. At the moment of life and death, Zhao Fei gathered anger on his feet in desperation and kicked the lion casually. The lion's expression suddenly changed, and it sprang up from Zhao Fei's body with a base and rolled on the ground in pain. Zhao Fei was still wondering what was wrong with the lion, but when he saw its tightened hind legs, he immediately understood. The kick he just kicked indiscriminately accidentally hit the lion's lifeblood. Zhao Fei was also a little embarrassed. After the embarrassment, Zhao Fei also realized that now is a good time to take advantage of his illness and kill him. Zhao Fei looked around and saw a large rock. Without hesitation, under the blessing of anger, he rushed to pick up the rock and threw it at the rolling lion on the ground. The strong pain caused the lion to inadvertently put away his anger. Zhao Fei's stone hit the lion's head just right, and a hole was opened in its head. Now the lion bounced even more on the ground, moving around like a fish out of water. Seeing that the lion was still alive, Zhao Fei immediately picked up the big rock just now and threw it at the lion again. In the end, Zhao Fei was afraid that it would not be safe, so he rode directly on the lion's body, holding the big rock with both hands, and kept hitting the lion's head. Boom! 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 Blood splattered everywhere. I don't know how many times I hit it. The lion's head was bloody and bloody from Zhao Fei's smashing, and Zhao Fei stopped with all his strength. Had it not been for the ring of mane, the lion would not have been recognized. Zhao Fei panted heavily, making sure that the lion had completely died, and lay heavily on the ground. After resting for a long time, Zhao Fei got up from the ground, looked at the lion he had brutally killed, and took a deep breath, sobering up his numb brain. Come on, you're the first angry beast I hunted in this world. Call out your angry crystal. Anger crystals are a relatively important material in this world. Anger masters with anger can absorb the anger in anger crystals to make their anger thicker, which is a good way for anger masters to become stronger. As Zhao Fei said, he came to the big lion and extracted its anger crystal according to the method he remembered. As Zhao Fei slowly mobilized his anger, streaks of blue light converged from the lion's body to Zhao Fei's palm. After a while, a blue anger crystal appeared in Zhao Fei's hand. What a beautiful crystal! Zhao Fei looked at the anger crystal that was the same size as a jujube in his hand and sighed. Would you like to use this anger crystal to upgrade your anger level to C level? The success rate is 90%. The voice of the system sounded in Zhao Fei's mind. Upgrade? What level to upgrade? Zhao Fei said with some expectation. Upgrading for you. The system heard Zhao Fei say the word upgrade and immediately began to upgrade Zhao Fei. I saw that anger crystal turn into streaks of blue light again, slowly sinking into Zhao Fei's body. Update completed. Is this done? Feeling the changes in his body, Zhao Fei found that there seemed to be no changes, and he couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. It seems that nothing has changed. As Zhao Fei spoke, he felt that his anger had become abundant again, and he involuntarily released his anger on his hands. It doesn't matter if you don't let it go. As soon as you release your anger, he realizes that his anger has turned blue. Be aware that only C-level rage is blue. Since I can upgrade, am I the only one in this world who can upgrade? Zhao Fei looked at the blue light in his hand and said to himself, you must know that the anger level of this mainland anger master is innate and no one can upgrade it yet, but Zhao Fei has the ability to upgrade. Wouldn't it mean that I will become a player with cheats? Interesting. Zhao Fei is quite satisfied with this ability. The haze just now has been swept away. Get ready. Your new overlord has arrived. Zhao Fei shouted excitedly. After that, Zhao Fei took a short rest, and after learning more about the situation in this world from Jason Ryan's memory, he couldn't wait to walk towards Zorn City, a town not far from here. The scar on his left arm was no longer bleeding, but it left a long scar. This scar will also be a testimony that Zhao Fei is still making a name for himself here. This body is the son of the king of the south, Jason Ryan, a real second-generation official. Zhao Fei is already anxious to meet his current father, Don Ryan, to be Jason Ryan, to taste what it is like to have a powerful father. On the way back, Jason had already planned his first goal on the continent of Cardeas. That is to regain the attention of Don Ryan and regain the fief that should have belonged to Jason Ryan, a direct descendant. If that cousin of mine saw me go back alive, would he open his mouth in shock? Zhao Fei couldn't help laughing as he said that. Zhao Fei learned from Jason's memory that this time Jason Ryan was being targeted by this lion. It was his cousin Carla Dialane who deliberately tricked the foolish Jason Ryan into here, almost became the meat of the lion. Don Ryan has already decided to give up the position of the future king of the southern border to Carla Dialane. Unexpectedly, he still wants to kill Jason Ryan, which shows how cruel his heart is. But Zhao Fei became interested endlessly in this and wanted to compete with Galott for the throne. You should thank God for allowing me to be reborn on your body to help you change your destiny. Zhao Fei said to himself, and he has a chance to change his fate. Now that he has a family background of a famous family and the ability to upgrade the natural anger level that is equivalent to a pervert in the Cardeas continent, it is simply not too powerful. This is a game. One is either to be brilliant and have power and benefits, or to sacrifice something and live a lifetime of mediocrity. As for the ending, it depends on how Jason plays the game. Zhao Fei is also looking forward to a new beginning and a new life. Can't wait to join the battle for fame. At the foot of the mountains of Zorn, a fortified city stands there. The tall city walls and bus-shaped city gates are extraordinarily majestic under the sunshine. The city gate is engraved with a big Zorn city, 3 big characters, and the walls are covered with flags embroidered with lions, indicating that this is the territory of the Ryan family. In the castle in the city, a middle-aged man with majestic blonde hair and brown eyes was standing there looking out the window with an anxious frown. He is Jason Ryan's father, Don Ryan, the king of the South, and the only known man in the South with A-level anger. On his face, with sharp water chestnut angles, there is a breath of vicissitudes, with a kind of domineering like a lion. Brother, anyway, Jason is just a good-for-nothing. If it's gone, it's gone. You don't have to be too sad. Don't we still have Galott? Another man who was about the same age as Don Ryan and also had blonde hair and brown eyes came over and said to Don Ryan, "He is Budlian, Don's younger brother, and Don put him in high esteem, making him the Lord of Chesawo, one of the 3 cities in the southern border. But Bud is an ambitious person who has been peeping at the throne of the king of the southern border, and he is a guy with a human face and a beast heart. Of course I know this, but no matter what, Jason is my biological flesh and blood after all. His mother fell ill and died not long after giving birth to him. Before she died, she told me to take good care of Jason. Son brought up, this is her only wish, but now alas." Don Lane shook his head and said sadly, "Uncle, I'm sorry, I didn't take good care of Jason." A young man who looked less than 20 years old came to Don and said to him, and he was crying, "This boy is Jason's cousin, Kelly Darlene. He is a young and promising person with B-level anger and extraordinary courage at a young age. But like his father, he has full ambitions and has always been regarded as the future of the sparsely populated Ryan family." Don also had high hopes for the child of his own brother, and even gave him the position of the city lord of Seos, one of the 3 southern cities that should have been given to his own son. He even planned to cede the position of king of the South to him in the future, and in order to make his position more secure, he had been plotting against Jason all the time, trying to put him to death, so that he could become the only one in the Ryan family. The only seedling, so that you can sit back and relax. Okay, Galott, you don't have to blame yourself. I know the character of my son. He is extremely stubborn and stupid. You are not to blame for this matter. Don patted Galott on the shoulder and said to Galott with a strong taste of hatred of iron and steel in his tone, "My lord, should we send some people to look for young Master Jason? Maybe he's not dead yet." A silver-haired man who looked older than Don asked Don. This man is called Martin Owen, the patriarch of the Owen family, and their family has always served the Ryan family, and he is also Don's most important right-hand man. The raging beasts are rampant in the Zorn Mountains, not to mention the raging beasts. Even if a group of wild beasts come, I'm afraid my nephew may not be able to beat them. Now I'm afraid there are no bones left. Would I go to look for them?" Bud curled his lips aside and said, "Lord Bud, the young master is at least your own nephew. How can you say that?" Martin Owen said bluntly to Bud that Martin has never had a good impression of Bud. He always felt that Bud would rebel one day. "What do you mean by that? Do you mean that I wish my nephew could die?" Bud said to Martin, a little unhappy that he had actually hated the Owen family a long time ago, because the Owen family's loyalty to his brother is undoubtedly a stumbling block for him or his son to become the king of the southern border. The villain didn't say that. Martin said calmly to Bud, "You didn't say that, but I'm afraid that's what you think, right?" Bud said to Martin with a relentless voice, "Okay, stop arguing. Martin, you should send some people to look for it. If you can find the best, don't go deep if you can't find it. Make sure you are safe." Don said to Martin. "Yes," Martin replied respectfully. In fact, Martin felt that Jason's disappearance in the Zorn Mountains might not be that simple. Although Jason is usually rebellious and stubborn, he is not stupid enough to make a joke with his life. He would never go to the dangerous Zorn Mountains for no reason. In Martin's opinion, There must be someone doing harm, and the most suspicious people were the Bud and his son in front of him. At this moment, a soldier came to the conference hall and greeted everyone in turn. Came to Dawn's side, said to Dawn, "Report to my lord. Master Jason is back." "What?" everyone said, in surprise and unison. Galott was the most unbelievable among the crowd. He clearly watched the sea-level angry beast staring at Jason. How could he survive? With his ability, it would be difficult to beat a D-level angry beast. How could he survive in front of a sea-level angry beast? Galott said in disbelief. Bud also looked at Galott with doubts on his face, and Galott could only look confused. Soon Jason was led by several soldiers into the conference hall. Looking at the familiar faces here, Jason found out their names one by one in the memory in his mind. He looked at Galott, who was staring at him with a shocked expression, and smiled triumphantly. "Father, I'm back. It's great to see you again." Jason pitifully came to Dawn Lane and said, "For the sake of reading convenience, from here on, the protagonist is officially called Jason Lane." "Cousin, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken you to the Zorn Mountains. I didn't expect you to disappear in a blink of an eye. Are you okay?" Galott was afraid that Jason would tell the truth, and then he would be finished. He simply told the story of him taking Jason to the Zorn Mountains and put on a worried expression. "This guy, it seems to be preemptive. Okay, I'll play with you." Jason thought to himself, "Yeah, it's just that you guys ran too fast. After I lost it, you didn't hear the lion barking so loudly. It shows how fast you ran. It seems like it was on purpose." Jason told everyone in a disguise form as a joke that Galott wanted to kill him. "What? The Zorn Mountains you took Jason to? Why didn't you tell me just now?" Dawn said, staring at Galott solemnly. "No, it's not like that, Uncle. I didn't leave Jason there on purpose." Facing Dawn's questioning, Galott was extremely panicked. "Yes, cousin, he didn't mean it." Jason smiled and said to Dawn, Yes, I didn't mean it. It was completely careless." Seeing that Jason was speaking for him, Galott said, overjoyed, "However, cousin, your feet are too fast. As soon as you left me there, the sea-level angry beast stared at me, and then the lion thought about Yunxiao's roar. Since you didn't even hear it, you can imagine it. I know how fast you were walking. Are you in a hurry to find my trace?" Jason smiled and said to Galott, "This." Galott realized that Jason's question was completely a pitfall, and no matter how he answered it, it was a bit unreasonable. Why did this kid suddenly become so smart? Is this still that silly boy Jason Ryan? Galott felt that Jason seemed to be a different person. The level of speaking had improved significantly, and his mind seemed to be brighter, so he couldn't help thinking in his heart, "What Kelly to Jason is telling the truth." Dawn's face became more serious after hearing Jason's words. "Uncle, you listen to me to explain to you. Things are not what you think." Galott said in a panic. Cold sweat was already breaking out from behind her back. "This matter is not over yet. Give you time, and you'd better believe how to explain this matter to me," Dawn said to Galott with a serious expression. After that, Dawn turned his head and looked at Jason with a slightly serious tone. He said, "Are you all right, boy? Thank you, Father, for your concern. Fortunately, that sea-level angry beast is already a little old. I was able to defeat it by luck and escape back. I have nothing to worry about, Father," Jason said to Dawn respectfully. "Hey, I got lost after a trip. Did my temper get better? Are you going to say things like this?" Dawn said with some surprise. His son never said such things before. He was always domineering. How could he be so polite? "I used to be my ignorant son, which made you angry, Father. From now on, I will never do that again, and I will definitely not discredit you, Father." Zhao Fei already knew this Jason Ryan from his memory, but he often poked holes for Dawn. He was really incompetent and liked to make troubles. No wonder Dawn didn't like him so much before. "I hope you can do what you said this time. Now that you have come back, I'm also very tired. I'm going to rest." "But, Galott, you all go back. After all, you are a city lord. It's not good to leave for too long. Let's all go back." Dawn waved to Bud and Galott and said, "Yes, since Jason is fine, I feel relieved as an uncle. So let's go back, brother. Take a good rest." Bud said duplicity. He thought that Jason had already become the belly of the angry beast, but he didn't expect this fool to be really lucky. "Cousin, I'll go play with you when I'm free." Before Galott left, Jason still did not forget to tease Galott, whose plan failed. "Well, I will definitely take good care of you next time, and I won't let you get lost again." Galott deliberately emphasized the tone of the second half of the sentence and said to Jason, "That would be great." Jason also looked at him tit for tat and said, looking at the back of Galott leaving, Jason's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he thought to himself, "This time I'm not the good-for-nothing from before. If you want to play, I'll play Gondo with you drama. Come on, tell me what's going on today." Seeing that Bud and Galott had already left, Dawn asked Jason, "It's okay, I was targeted by a sea-level angry beast in the Zorn Mountains, and then I killed him and escaped back." Jason roughly said to his father Dawn, "Sea-level angry beast? Was it defeated by you? Stop joking with me. It's difficult for you to kill a cow. You only have the ability of D-level. You haven't cultivated well, alas." Dawn shook his head and sighed. "You must know that here, generally, people with D-level anger would give up being an anger master." But Dawn was unwilling that his son couldn't become an anger master, so he forced Dawn to become an anger master. But he didn't expect Jason to live up to his expectations at all. "Really, I really killed that sea-level anger beast, and my current anger level has also been promoted, becoming a C-level." Jason showed off in front of Dawn without thinking. "What? Martin." Dawn was shocked at first. Jason was just about to be proud, but Dawn returned to calm and shouted, "What's wrong, sir?" Martin hurriedly came to Dawn and answered Dawn. Jason also looked at his father suspiciously, thinking what he was going to say. "Go to a doctor and show the young master. If you're sick and your mind is confused, have you heard that the natural anger level can be promoted?" Dawn said to Martin helplessly, "Father, what I said is true. Why don't you believe me?" Jason was also speechless after hearing Dawn's words, and hurriedly explained to Dawn, "Okay, I still have a lot of things to do, so don't bother me here anymore. Let Martin take you to see a doctor." After Dawn finished speaking, he began to get busy with his own affairs. "Let's go, young master. Don't disturb your lord." Martin came over to persuade Jason. Jason watched Martin look at him like a patient, and he couldn't bear it. Jason saw that they didn't believe what he said, but judging from his memory, these two people should be absolutely trustworthy. One is his biological father, and the other is someone who is extremely loyal to his father. He is not afraid that they will know that he has the ability to upgrade. He released his anger directly, and a burst of blue light appeared on Jason's palm with Jason's urging, and wrapped it around his palm. This is really sea-level anger." Martin looked at the light on Jason's palm in disbelief and said. Dawn, who lowered his head, also heard Martin's words, left, and raised his head to look at Jason. He was also shocked to see that the anger in Jason's hand, which should have been blue, had turned into blue anger that only C-levels could have, and even stood up from their seats. "Are you really promoted?" Dawn asked Jason in disbelief. "Yeah, I told you everything. I was really promoted. You still don't believe it," Jason said to Dawn proudly. This kind of pretense made Jason feel very comfortable. "How do you have this ability?" Dawn asked Jason in a low voice. "Yes, young master. The fact that I can upgrade my anger level has never happened on the mainland of Cardeas." "How did you have this ability?" Martin also leaned over and asked Jason. At this one, Jason was in trouble all of a sudden. He didn't know how to explain this to them. He couldn't tell them directly that he had traveled through time and brought a system with him, right? "I'm afraid they won't understand, even if you explain it this way." After thinking about it for a while, Jason casually said, "I don't know what happened. I just know that after defeating that angry beast, I absorbed his angry beast crystal, and then I don't know how to respond." It was promoted to C-level anger. Is the young master born with such an ability? It will be great if it is true. Martin happily said that in his heart, Martin still didn't want Bard and his son to rule the southern border in the future. If Jason really has this ability, then maybe he will become stronger and stronger, and then the position of King of the South will naturally belong to Jason, Dawn's own son. "We're not sure yet. What if Jason is just a coincidence this time?" Dawn said cautiously. "Well, your lord is right." Martin also nodded in agreement. Don't say anything about this matter. We'll see the situation before we talk about it. Jason, since you already have sea-level anger, I hope you will practice hard in the future and stop playing around. You say you were 17, I was a child at the age of dash, and I was still a child, so I got 2 girls pregnant. Fortunately, I found out early and let them abort. Otherwise, I might have to help you take care of the child now. Dawn was very angry when he talked about these Jason affairs. Please rest assured, Father, I will not let this kind of thing happen again in the future. Jason said in embarrassment, but to be honest, he was more envious of the romantic life of Jason's son from a rich family who he replaced. He only knew how to eat, drink, and play all day long. Well, that's good. I still have a lot of things to do recently, so you can practice with peace of mind. Dawn said to Jason, Father, I have one more thing to ask for. Jason suddenly said to Dawn, Well, what's the matter? Dawn looked at Jason and asked, I see that my cousin Kalita is only 19 years old, and he is in charge of Seos alone. It is really hard work. I want my father to arrange a position for me so that I can help him. Jason said to his father, although he said so, but Jason wanted to help him, and he wanted to find a way to take back the position of Seos city lord that should belong to him. Oh, why do you want to do something all of a sudden? You used to only know how to eat, drink, play, and poke tricks. Why do you suddenly seem like a different person? Dawn asked Jason in disbelief. Look at what Father said. You're not happy that I've gotten better. I didn't survive a disaster, but then I figured out and thought I couldn't go on like that. Jason scratched his head and said with an embarrassed smile, This shows how bad the previous Jason Ryan was, and it became a rare thing to suddenly become a little self-motivated. It's rare that the young master has some self-motivated spirit. So please agree to the young master. Martin looked at the changes in Jason Ryan who had come back and felt happy for a while. After all, he also watched Jason Ryan grow up a little bit. He was also very happy to see his changes. Well, can you promise that you won't make trouble for me again? Dawn asked Jason. Of course, Father, don't worry, I promise not. Jason vowed to Dawn that he was also a poor man in his previous life, and he still cherished what he had, and it was impossible for him to be as shameless as the original Jason Ryan. Martin, how old is your son? Dawn suddenly turned to ask Martin Owen. My lord, my son just came of age this year, more than a year older than the young master. Martin replied to Dawn, Well, I know about the kid Galactica. He is extremely stable and obedient. You also know the nature of the kid, Jason. I'm still very worried about him. Why don't you let Galactica and Jason go to Seos together? Well, you can also help me take a look at this kid. Dawn stared at Jason with distrust and said, Of course it's possible. It's a great honor. I'll go back and tell Kwanzi right away. Martin said to Dawn, Well, it's okay. Don't worry. Let the child prepare well. It will be fine a few days later. Dawn said to Martin, Jason, it's rare that you want to do something for our family. Of course I support it, but I'm really worried about you. I'll let your Uncle Martin's son, Galott, go to Seos with you. There's a caretaker. You have to be honest. Galott is my eyeliner there. As long as I hear you messing around or something from him, I will immediately catch you back and lock you up in this castle in the city of Zorn. You can never go out. Do you understand? Dawn said to Jason seriously. Understood. Father, don't worry. I will definitely work hard for our family in Seos and help my cousin manage Seos well. Jason said to Dawn. Of course, Jason understood that Dawn obviously wanted to plant an informant next to him. Okay, I will write you a letter of appointment tomorrow, ordering you, the deputy director of Seos, to help your cousin Galott manage Seos well. Okay, I will write you a letter of appointment tomorrow, ordering you, the deputy director of Seos, to help your cousin Galott manage Seos well. Seeing Jason's firm attitude, Dawn said with satisfaction, Thank you, Father. Jason said with a smile on his face, and at the same time thought to himself, My road to rise begins with taking back the seat of Seos city lord that should belong to me. After saying goodbye to his father, Jason took a comfortable bath under the service of the servants and changed into quick clothes. After feeling the treatment of the upper-class nobles, I lay on the bed comfortably. I had been tired for a whole day, fighting angry beasts, rushing back to Zorn City from the mountains and accepting this complicated situation. With his new identity, Jason was already exhausted. Lying on the bed, he fell asleep without knowing it, and thus started his new life, enjoying the life of a nobleman. Jason has also gradually become familiar with his new identity and this brand new world through these few days. I also found that the Anger Beast Crystal is really a good thing in this world. Not only can the Anger Master improve his level, but it can also be used as energy for many tools, just like a modern battery, and it is also very durable. As a result, some non-noble Anger Masters found business opportunities and took risks to hunt Anger Beast Crystals in exchange for money. This morning, Jason woke up from the nightmare after the sun was already shining. He dreamed about the scene where he caught and raped his wife in bed again, and woke up in anger. To you hateful men and women, if I have the chance to go back, I must give you back the shame you gave me 100-fold. Jason gritted his teeth and said. As soon as Jason finished speaking, a servant came in and said respectfully to Jason, "Young master, you are awake. Lord Martin's son, Cardeas, has been here for a long time, and he is still waiting for you at the door." "Really? Have I been asleep for a long time?" Jason asked the servant. "Young master, you have been sleeping since yesterday evening, and it's already past noon, so it's been long enough." The servant said to Jason with a smile, "My God, I've been asleep for so long. Then why didn't you wake me up?" Jason asked, "My young master, I'm not afraid that you are too tired. I want you to take a good rest." The servant replied to Jason, "Okay, I get it. Hurry up and take me to see that Galott. He must have been waiting for a long time." Jason said, and began to put on his clothes. It didn't take long for Jason to wash up and come to the hall of the castle. At a glance, he saw his father, Don, was talking to a dignified young man with handsome features, white hair like Martin, wearing a white armor, and a saber hanging around his waist. Jason slowly approached the two of them, and gradually took a closer look at the young man's face, and couldn't help sighing in his heart. This young man must look good if he is a woman. The young man also noticed that Jason had come to them, and after one glance at Jason's hair color and pupils, he determined Jason's identity, and immediately said to Jason respectfully, "This is Cardeas, the son of Martin Owen. Have seen the young master." "Okay, don't be too polite. My father asked you to go with me, and I will get along well with you. Just call me Jason from now on." Jason didn't put on airs, and said to Galott in the same polite manner. Jason's polite gesture also surprised Galott a little, but he heard that Jason Ryan was a veritable son of the vertical, relying on his father being Don Ryan. He was arrogant, unreasonable, and domineering. Seeing you today is completely the opposite of those rumors. But Galott thought about it. After all, Don is here. Maybe Jason's appearance is completely fake, and he doesn't care about it anymore. "Well, you can set off as soon as you get ready. I have written the commission," Don said, and handed Jason a piece of brown paper. Jason quickly picked it up and said to Don, "Thank you, father." "Well, you guys go get ready. I still have some things to do, so I can't accompany you. You should also get to know each other well, Galott and Jason. I'll leave it to you to take care of me." Don said to Galott, "I will fulfill my mission and assist the young master well." Cardeas saluted Don. After all, Don patted Galott on the shoulder in satisfaction and left. "When are we going to leave, young master?" Galott asked Jason after Don left. "Don't worry, I said hello to my friends before I left, and I also remembered that I still have some things to deal with." Jason smiled and said to Galott. Jason learned from his memory that he humiliated a servant in a tavern not long ago, and even cut off one of his arms. This matter still made him very guilty. Although he didn't do it, but after all, he is using this body now, so he still wants to mention the previous Jason Ryan to make up for others. After asking the butler for some money, Jason took Galott to the tavern, hoping to find the servant in the tavern he had hurt. Jason and Galactica were walking on the avenue of Zorn City, and the passers-by were deliberately avoiding Jason. Jason himself understood what was going on, and he didn't care. He was a well-known little bully that no one dared to mess with before, so the two came to the tavern one after the other. As soon as Jason entered the tavern, a hostess in scantily dressed clothes came to welcome Jason. "Young master, I heard that something happened to you the day before yesterday, and everyone was worried to death." The hostess fell limply into Jason's arms as she spoke. Jason felt a little flustered suddenly as he felt the scent blowing toward his face. Since he married his ex-wife, or even fell in love, he has basically never looked at other women directly, let alone this, and he can't help feeling a little nervous. But Jason thought again. That woman had been wearing a cuckold for half a year, and this was only her own admission. In fact, it might have been longer. A burst of anger ignited in my heart, and suddenly I wanted to feel other women well, so I put my arms around the small waist of the bartender and said to the bartender with a smile, "How worried are you about me?" Let's find a place where no one is around and have a good talk, shall we?" The hostess put her mouth close to Jason's ear alluringly, whispered to Jason, and blew into his ear intentionally or unintentionally, making Jason, Let's find a place where no one is around and have a good talk, shall we?" The hostess put her mouth close to Jason's ear alluringly, whispered to Jason, and blew into his ear intentionally or unintentionally, making Jason feel his body itching. Facing such a little goblin, Jason couldn't hold back any longer, and said to the hostess with a smirk, "Okay, where do you want to go?" Cough, cough. When Galott saw this scene, she quickly coughed twice and reminded Jason. "What happened?" Jason turned his head and asked Galactica, "Young master, please don't forget what you promised Lord Dawn." Galott said to Jason with a serious and disdainful face, Little beauty, I have important things to do today, so forget it." As he spoke, Jason took out a gold coin and threw it in from the wide collar of the hostess. "Well then, young master, you must come to me when you have time that day," the hostess said to Jason in a soul-stirring tone, and Jason's heart fluttered when he heard it. Quickly took a few deep breaths to suppress the anger in his heart. After all, he had only promised his father yesterday that he would stop spending money and drinking. It would be too bad to break the precept after only one day. After Jason dismissed the hostess, he looked at Galott behind him and explained to him, "I'm just playing with her, and I'm not really going to do anything to her, so please don't random thoughts. I've heard about the young master for a long time, but those prostitutes dream of serving him. It's really extraordinary when I saw it today. It's a gold coin. Just tease you like that, and you'll give it? You know, a gold coin is not enough. An ordinary person can eat enough food for several days." After watching Jason's performance just now, Galott, who already hated Jason, hated this master he would follow in the future even more. "How can I say that I'm also the son of the king of the south, so I shouldn't be too stingy?" Jason said to Galott, "Dafong is not so generous. It's better to use the money where it should be spent." Galott said to Jason with a serious face, "Hey, why are you so serious? Man, shouldn't he be living a happier life? I don't believe that if it was you just now, you wouldn't be moved." Jason asked Galott, "If it were me, I would have put my steel sword around her neck. I would not allow her to touch me like this." Galott said with a serious face, "TCH, do you want to do this? She is a weak woman. You could do it to her like this?" Jason said to Galott with disdain, "This is the noble character that a wrath master should have. I hope that the young master will be able to keep himself clean in the future." Galott said to Jason, "I'm really afraid of you, you bastard." After finishing speaking, Jason walked towards the tavern, too lazy to argue so much with Galactica. The owner of the tavern saw Jason and greeted him with both fear and joy. He was afraid that Jason would cause trouble for him. Last time Jason cut off the arms of his tavern clerk here, and many guests all scared away. "I really can't afford to offend this little devil, Jason. I am happy that Jason has always been generous when he comes here to have fun, and he can make a lot of money every time he comes here. Young master, you are here, and today you are opening the best room upstairs, serving the best wine, 3 beauties." The tavern owner smiled and asked Jason, because Jason had been like this every time he came here, so the tavern owner asked directly, "It seems that, young master, you are a regular visitor here." Galott said to Jason with a smile, "A cough, I don't want anything today. I'm not here to play. What about that guy in your tavern whose arm I chopped off last time? Jason coughed twice and asked the owner of the tavern in embarrassment. Oh, him? Young master, don't worry, because you are dissatisfied with him. I have fired him, and he will never appear here to disturb your good mood. The tavern owner said to Jason with a smile. What? You drove him away? Didn't he say that there was a half-century-old, frail, and sickly mother in his family that day? He was missing an arm, and no one would accept him. You let him, and how does mother live? Jason said to the tavern owner. Don't you dislike him? After hearing Jason's words, the tavern owner was stunned. Jason Ryan, the young master of the Ryan family who has always disregarded other people's feelings and based his happiness on the pain of others, would say such a thing. The tavern owner couldn't believe his ears. The person I am now is no longer the person I used to be. It won't be long before you get to know the new me. Jason said, casually found a glass on the table, poured himself a full glass of wine, and drank it all in one gulp. Good wine. I'm afraid it's not much worse than Lafite, right? Although he hadn't actually drunk it at all, and he didn't know what Lafite tasted like, but Jason felt that no matter how delicious the wine was, that was it. Anyway, he thought it was the best wine he had ever tasted. Lafite? What is Lafite? Why haven't I heard of it? Galott asked Jason suspiciously. Don't care about so many details. I didn't send you an explanation for this. Jason simply said to Galott, Boss, do you know where that young man is now? Take me to find him. Jason turned to his boss and said, Young master, you see that he's already like that. What are you going to do with him? Just let him go. The tavern owner said to Jason a little timidly. He thought Jason was going to trouble that young man again. He really couldn't bear it. So he said to Jason cautiously. Jason turned his head and stared at the tavern owner. Before he could speak urgently, the tavern owner shuddered, hastily saluted Jason and apologized. I'm sorry, young master. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Okay, am I that scary? Don't worry. The former Jason Lane is dead, and now there's a brand new Jason Lane standing in front of you. I didn't go to that boy to trouble him. You just take us there. Jason smiled and said to the tavern owner, Okay, I'll take you there. The tavern owner said with a sigh of relief. If Jason's temper was the same as before, if he dared to contradict Jason like this, he might not be able to keep his limbs like this now. Hey, I used to do some bad things, but now I want to be a good person. It's quite difficult. Jason shook his head and sighed. Young master's notoriety has already spread throughout the southern border. If you say that you are a good person, even a young master's notoriety has already spread throughout the southern border. If you say that you are a good person, even a child who has just learned to speak will not believe it. Galott said to Jason, Be a good person. I don't want to be a good person. I just want to make up for the people I hurt. After Jason finished speaking, he followed the tavern owner who was leading the way for them. Pretend. Galott looked at Jason's back and said disdainfully. In fact, he had been talking about Jason from his father before, and he often heard about the evil things Jason did in the market. It was because he didn't like Jason at all, and even hated him a little bit. Today, after seeing the attitude of the people in Zorn City towards Jason, it completely confirmed what he had heard about Jason before. I hated Jason even more. Under the leadership of the tavern owner, Jason and Galott found the young man whose arm had been chopped off by Jason. Seeing his difficult appearance, the injury on his arm is still not healed, and he has to take care of his sick mother with one hand. Jason felt a burst of guilt in his heart. Jason also personally apologized seriously to the young man who was so frightened that he fell to his knees when he saw him, and gave him more than a dozen gold coins, enough for him to spend a long time, and then left with Galott and started to go back to prepare to go to Seos. Young master, just now I saw that you looked so guilty facing the young man. Why is that? Galott asked Jason. Nonsense. It's not like you didn't see him in distress. It's all because I chopped off his right hand and made him almost useless. Can I not feel guilty? Jason said to Galott. Now I know I'm guilty. When you cut off someone's arm, why didn't you think that you took away his ability to live? Giving a slap and then a date is really a trick used by upper-class people, just like that. I want to take back people's hearts. Galott questioned Jason. Your tone is a bit impolite. Jason turned his head and said to Galott, "Of course, to be honest, me and a vertical disciple who hates you have no ability, so we can only bully others and run amok here. Fortunately, Mr. Dawn is wise and does not intend to hand over the Ryan family to you. Otherwise, our Owen family, it may be shameful to follow such a master." Galott finally couldn't help but tell his true thoughts about Jason. "How dare you speak to me like this? You probably forgot that you are my follower now." Jason said to Galott, "If it wasn't for my father's insistence, I would rather go farming than be your follower." Galactic stared at Jason and said unceremoniously, "It's a pity. Whether you like it or not, I am your master now. You can talk to me casually in the future, but don't go too far." Jason said to Galott, "Also, the Ryan family will definitely belong to me in the end. If you don't believe it, just wait and see." Jason said to Galott as he walked. Crack! With a bang, the sound of the sword being unsheathed came from behind Jason, and Jason's hair stood on end unconsciously. "What are you going to do?" Jason turned his head and looked at Galott, who drew his sword and said to him, "I really hate scum like you. I want to kill you and eliminate harm for the people." Galott said to Jason, "I'm going. Don't you? You're going to kill me just because of this? I'm the son of the king of the southern border. If you kill me, do you think your Owen family can escape my father's palm?" Jason asked Galott, sweating profusely on his back, thinking that he would not just be killed like this. "Don't worry, I won't let your father know that I killed you." Galactic pointed at Jason with the giant sword in his hand and said, "Wow, isn't it? Are you so serious about it? But many people have seen that you are with me. How can you remove your suspicion? Besides, your sense of justice is too strong, right? I didn't provoke you, and you're going to kill me just because I was more promiscuous before? Isn't this too ridiculous?" Jason showed a strong desire to survive. "You didn't provoke me? Huh, since you've asked so far, I'll tell you." Galott placed her sword on Jason's neck. "Talking is talking, don't be impulsive." Jason looked nervously at the sword on his neck, swallowed a mouthful of spit, and said it was the first time he was held on his neck by that weapon. One can imagine how he felt. "Do you still remember that girl who was deceived by you and abandoned by you after she became pregnant with your child?" Galott asked Jason. Jason immediately searched for this event in his memory and found that it did exist. That girl wanted to marry a rich and noble family wholeheartedly. Jason used to take advantage of that girl's mentality, tricked her into sleeping with her, made her conceive a child, and then abandoned her. But his father Dawn had already settled the matter, and Jason couldn't figure out why Galott killed him for this matter. Hasn't my father already negotiated that matter with the girl's family? Besides, is a vain woman worth doing this to you? This is a big sin. Jason said to Galott, "Do you know that she has already privately appointed me for life a long time ago? We had already agreed to tie the knot when he was an adult, but we didn't expect that when she was just an adult, you would marry her stolen from me. Do you know that the two of us have been in love for 3 years, and I'm not willing to touch her? I didn't expect you to make her pregnant like this. You still don't cherish her and play with her like that? Made her poison herself for that? Do you understand what she means to me, who is just a plaything to you?" Galott became more and more excited as he spoke, and the sword in his hand was also tightly pressed against Jason's neck. Jason was really dumbfounded after hearing what Galott said, and he didn't know how many times he had scolded the former Jason Ryan. He was so happy that he was so happy, and it became such a blame thing when he came to him, not to mention how wrong Jason felt. "Well, I really didn't know she was your lover. Besides, after your 3-year relationship, she just said, 'Come with me,' and left with me. Doesn't it also prove that she is really not a good girl?" Jason persuaded the emotional Galactica. "Shut up. You didn't judge her with all your strength. Go to hell," Galott said, and directly slid the sword around Jason's neck. Luckily, Jason was well prepared and dodged Galactica's sword immediately, but Galactica still drew a scar on his face, and bright red blood slowly flowed out. Luckily, Jason was well prepared and dodged Galactica's sword immediately, but Galactica still drew a scar on his face, and bright red blood slowly flowed out. "Oh my God, It's so dangerous. I almost died. My new life has just begun, and I don't want it to end like this. Jason patted his chest and said with lingering fear, "Today you must die," Galott said, releasing blue anger attached to his saber. At this time, the system's voice suddenly sounded in Jason's mind. "Attention! You're in danger of death now. I suggest you prepare for the battle immediately." "Do you need to say that? I'm not blind. I can see it," Jason complained. Jason stood opposite Galott, who was almost losing his mind, and a battle was about to begin. "It seems that you are determined to kill me today, right?" Jason asked Galactica. "Does it need to be said? Is it not obvious enough for me?" Galott said and raised his saber high. "In that case, come on. I also want to experience what it's like to fight against people." As Jason spoke, he released his anger and wrapped his arms around him. Galactica looked at the blue anger released by Jason and said in disbelief, "What? You? Aren't you just a D-level anger? How is this a C-level anger?" Galott had always heard that Jason was a loser with only D-level anger. Today, she didn't expect Jason to be C-level. She was really surprised. Humans always have to grow. I have made as many enemies as I did before. If I don't have some new skills, I'm afraid I will be eliminated in a short time. Jason smiled proudly and said to Galott, "It seems that the rumor that the young master of the Ryan family is just a D-rank, useless anger master is false. You have hidden it deep enough." Cardeas said to Jason, "Hey, you misunderstood. I am very simple. I don't have that much scheming. It is true that I only have D-level strength. It's just that I was lucky a few days ago. I got the power that can increase my anger level, and then I accidentally increased it. It's just a level up," Jason said to Galott with a feeling of pretense. "Divine power that can be upgraded? Stop joking. Do you think I'm a fool?" Galott said, "I'm not joking with you. What I said is true. As long as I make good use of my divine power, I will definitely become a man standing on the top of the Calradia continent in the future. You follow me well now, and I can forget about it. This matter has nothing to do with you." As he spoke, Jason suddenly became stalwart. The moment a knight draws out his sword, there is no way out. So less nonsense. Let's take it, Galactica said as he rushed towards Jason with a stride. "I'll go." Jason looked at Galott, who was rushing towards him with a sword, and suddenly became terrified, and the momentum just now disappeared. "What should I do?" Jason asked the system in a panic. "I suggest you go up and meet. It's easy to put it bluntly. In our civilized society, it's not so violent. I don't know how to fight at all." Jason said, "Look at the sword." Just as Jason was talking to the system, Galott slashed at Jason with a sword. In a panic, Jason's legs gave way and he fell to the ground, rolling and crawling to escape, not to mention how embarrassed he was. Garrity looked at Jason's appearance and snorted with a smile. Looking at Jason with disdainful eyes, he said, "This is what you said, young master, is the divine power you got? It's really amazing. So you still want to stand on the top of the Cardeas continent? Could it be that you use it, you get out?" "You." Jason blushed from being humiliated and slowly got up from the ground. This feeling of shame reminded him of the humiliation he suffered after his wife was cheated on. A kind of angry anger gradually rushed to his head. "You are a complete waste. If you are not born a good family, you are nothing. Go to hell." As Garrity spoke, he slashed at Jason with another sword. Clang! With a crisp sound, Jason directly grabbed Galactic's sword with his angry hand, staring at Galactic with anger in his eyes. "I'm the one who must climb to the top of Calradia, believe it or not." As Jason spoke, he clenched his left fist and punched Galactica in the abdomen. Galactic immediately released his anger in his abdomen, blocking Jason's fist. He raised his foot and kicked Jason in the chest directly. Unexpectedly, Jason was kicked to the ground directly. He was still too careless, and he had no fighting skills at all. He is quite unfamiliar with the use of anger. Although he has the same level of anger as Galott, he is still not Galactic's opponent at all. Even if you really have supernatural power, you have no chance to use it to reach the top, because today is your end, Galactico said and slashed at Jason with a sword. Jason was half lying on the ground, and immediately raised his arm to block Gallott's sword. Boom! Gallott's sword slashed heavily on Jason's arm. Although Jason's arm was protected by armed fury, Gallott's sword also had it, and the impact was stronger. Only the sound of a sharp weapon sinking into the flesh was heard, and bright red blood flowed from Jason's arm. Gallott's sword directly left a deep sword mark on Jason's right arm, where the blood couldn't stop stayed outside. The heartbreaking pain immediately hit Jason, but he couldn't care about it anymore because he knew that he might be dead soon. Stop struggling. I will strike quickly. Galott raised the sword in his hand again as he spoke. Wait a minute. Are you sure you want to charge yourself with a crime and ruin your future for a woman who loves vanity? Jason told Galott that Jason knew that it was impossible to impress Galott with just a few words. But he still wants to do something to save his own life, instead of just sitting there waiting to die, being a little sheep at the mercy of others. You don't understand my love for her at all. Stop talking nonsense with me. Go to hell, Galott said and slashed at Jason with a sword. At the moment when Gallott's sword was about to touch Jason, Jason immediately rolled to one side with all his strength and avoided it. Galott didn't stay idle and immediately followed quickly, raising his hand and ready to slash at Jason again. Jason had nowhere to escape. He raised his hand subconsciously and attached armed anger, hoping to resist it. At this moment, Jason's heartbeat also became abnormally fast. Jason closed his eyes, ready to accept death. Jason closed his eyes, ready to accept death. Jason only heard clang, with a bang, the sound of metal hitting. Slowly opened his eyes and saw that his father, Don Ryan, was standing in front of him, blocking the sword that Galactica was swinging at him with his sword, and with a strong slap, the sword in Galactica's hand was thrown away. Galott, you'd better explain to me. What are you doing? Don said with a serious face, staring at Galott, who almost killed his son. My lord, why are you here? I'm sorry, Galott said, kneeling directly in front of Don, lowering his head and having nothing to say. He knew that he was definitely going to die now. If the tavern owner hadn't run fast and told me about this, you would have killed my son. Do you know that what you committed was a capital crime? Don asked Galott. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I'm willing to be punished, but I hope you don't make it difficult for my father and the others. I did this all by myself, and it has nothing to do with them. Galott knew how big a crime it was for him to murder Jason, and he was willing to die for it, but he was afraid of hurting his father because of himself. Of course, I know your father's loyalty to our Ryan family. I just want to know why you did this. Shouldn't you want to get rid of Jason just because you don't like him? As Don spoke, he glanced at Jason, who was a little embarrassed beside him. The matter has come to this, my lord. Why do you still ask these meaningless things? I am willing to listen to you, my lord. Just punish me. Galott said resolutely. Okay, as expected of Martin's son, he really has backbone. Come, bind him to me, put him in prison, and wait for my fate. Don said to the several armored followers behind him. After receiving the order, a few attendants ran over quickly and took Galott away in a big way. Are you okay, boy? Don came to Jason and said to Jason, Phew, fortunately, father, you came in time, otherwise I'm afraid I'll go to heaven. Jason patted his chest and said with lingering fear, Come on, based on what you have done in this life, it is impossible to go to heaven. At most you will go to hell. Don said to Jason, Father, I am your son after all. How can you say that to me? Jason said to Don a little speechlessly, If you hadn't suddenly wanted to be a different person recently, which made me look at you with admiration, maybe I wouldn't have come to save you. Don said to Jason, although he said so, he didn't think so in his heart. He was just talking angry words. Father, don't worry. I will be a person who makes you proud from now on. Jason promised Don. Well, that's fine. Let's talk about the gossip when we get back. The wound on your arm needs to be dealt with quickly. If you don't care about it, it might cause you to lose too much blood. After Don finished speaking, he took Jason and started to go back. On the way back, Jason followed Don, looking at Don's burly back. Like a lion without anger, he suddenly felt extremely reliable and secretly sighed, What a good father! The former Jason didn't know how to cherish it, really. He doesn't know how to be blessed when he is in the blessing. Soon they returned to their castle, and several old doctors were also busy bandaging Jason's wounds. Don sat on the side, quietly waiting for Martin's arrival. He wanted to discuss this matter with Martin. Not long after, Martin ran in a hurry, knelt in front of Don, and greeted Don and Jason one by one. "My lord, young master." "Okay, don't be too polite to stand up," Don said to Martin. "Thank you, sir," Martin said, and stood up. "How's the young master's injury?" Martin asked Jason. "It's nothing serious, Mr. Martin. Don't worry," Jason said to Martin politely. "It's all my fault for my incompetence and discipline. Galott did such a thing to the young master, and I hope that the Lord will punish him." Martin said to Don, "I know your loyalty to our Ryan family, but I can't forgive Cardeas' assassination of Jason. What's your opinion?" Don asked Martin. "I don't have any opinion. If a rebellious son assassinates the young master, he should be stabbed to death. I will not intercede for him." Martin said to Don, "Okay, since you have no objection, Mr. Martin, I will execute him immediately." Don stood up and said, "Father, wait a minute." Jason stood up suddenly and said to Don, "Huh, Jason, do you want to say anything else?" Don turned around and asked Jason, "I want to beg my father to spare his life and give him to me. I believe that what he did before was just impulsive." Jason said that he understands Galactica. He knows how important love is to a man, and he is also full of sympathy for a man who has been hurt by a woman. "Okay, since you have pleaded for him, I will let him go and hand him over to you." Don nodded and said to Jason, "Galott was originally Martin's son, and he was a little reluctant to kill him." "Thank you, young master. I am here to say thank you to the young master on behalf of that treacherous son of Galactica." Martin saluted Jason. "Master Martin, you're welcome. I'll go talk to him right now." Jason said goodbye to his father and went to the prison under the escort of several entourages. Jason brought a few entourages to the gate of the prison where Galactic was held, saw Galactic sitting on the ground in embarrassment, smiled at him, and said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't expect my father to suddenly appear disturbed. Up your plan." "TCH, I can only blame my bad luck. If you want to kill or cut, go ahead. I have nothing to say." Galott saw Jason coming with his men and thought they were coming to execute him, so he became more relaxed. "Come on, open the door," Jason said to the jailer. A jailer ran over quickly and opened the prison door. Jason stared at Galott and smiled and said, "You can go now." "What? Are you going to let me go?" Galott said to Jason in disbelief. "That's right. I just want to let you go, and I hope you will remember in the future that that kind of woman is really not worth your life. Men can be crazy about love, but they have to be aware of it." Jason said to Galactica, "Aren't you afraid that I will assassinate you again after I leave?" Galott said, "Yeah, what if this guy assassinates me again?" Jason felt a little guilty when he heard Jason thought about it for a while, and suddenly remembered a bloody plot that he often saw on TV. He thought to himself, "No matter how I look for it, I have traveled through time, and I also have a system in me. How should I say? There should be some halo of the protagonist." Jason thought for a while and decided to take a gamble. With a sound, he pulled out the sword of an entourage. Looking at this scene, Galott thought that Jason regretted it and was about to execute him, so he closed his eyes silently. Galott, who closed his eyes, only heard a bang. With a sound, he slowly opened his eyes and saw that Jason had dropped the sword beside him. He raised his head and looked at Jason in confusion. "I suddenly want to make a bet with you. If you still think you want to kill me because of that woman, you just pick up that sword and kill me. Otherwise, you have to swear allegiance to me forever." Jason smiled, said to Galott, "Young master, absolutely not." Jason's attendants all said nervously to Jason, "It's okay. You don't have to worry." Jason calmly said to the followers around him. Galott glanced at the sword on the ground, picked it up without hesitation, and walked towards Jason. "Young master, hurry up. We will protect you." Several followers around Jason immediately drew out their sabers and stared at Galott. "Go away, it's okay." As Jason said, he calmly walked in front of those followers. Although his performance was calm, Jason was still terrified to death. Bang, bang, bang. Jason could clearly hear his own heartbeat. Galott came over and put the sword in his hand on Jason's neck. "What do you have the confidence to think that I won't kill you?" Galactica stared at Jason and said, "Because I know you won't do stupid things for such a woman. You were just impulsive before," Jason said to Galott. Feeling the cold sword on his neck, Jason felt a little regretful about doing this. He was trying to die, but the matter has come to this point. He can only bite the bullet and hold on, and his intestines are already regretful. He thought that if those followers came to pull him at this time, he would definitely go away. But those followers were really obedient. Jason told them to go away, but they really didn't come over. "Then you go to die," Galott said, and clenched the sword in his hand. Jason closed his eyes tightly, and he was already praying non-stop in his heart. He had prayed over and over for Jesus and Buddha. At the last moment, Galott finally realized that he really couldn't do it anymore, and suddenly felt that he was really not worth doing for that vain woman. Bang! Galott threw the sword in his hand to the ground, knelt down in front of Jason, and said, "You have won." "Huh." Jason breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that he had escaped the catastrophe. It seems that the bloody plot in the TV series is quite useful. Jason thought to himself, "Since you don't want to kill me, you have to swear allegiance to me. Do you remember?" Jason said to Galott, "Yes, I will swear to be loyal to you from now on. I will never change my mind, and I swear it on the honor of our Owen family." Galott said to Jason, "Well, that's good. Then let's go." Jason said contentedly, and he took the lead and walked out, leaving behind a few followers who looked at Jason's leaving back with eyes of surprise and a little admiration. Jason also thought secretly smugly, pretending to be successful. This incident was soon spread to everyone, and everyone praised Jason's courage. The young master of Ryan's family gradually came out from the market. After disappearing once, he was transformed by God. He has completely changed. The devilite Jason no longer exists. Now Jason Ryan is a brave and resourceful man. People. Jason was still very happy to face some gossip, and finally wiped away the bad reputation of the previous Jason. A few days later, everything was ready and Jason was ready to set off to Seos to appoint the deputy director. Jason and Galactic were bidding farewell to Dawn and Martin on tall horses. Although the distance between Zorn City and Seos is very short, you still have to be careful, and you must take the road and don't turn around. Dawn told Jason that a relatively spacious avenue will be built between every city on the Cardeas continent. The lord of each territory will send many patrol soldiers to ensure the safety of pedestrians on the avenue and the safety of the villages on the avenue. So the safest place outside the towns is undoubtedly the avenues between these towns. "Okay, father, don't worry," Jason replied to his father. "Well, Galott, since Jason chose to let you go, then I will let go of the past. I hope you will protect Jason and assist him in the future. Do you understand?" Dawn said to Galott, "My lord, don't worry. I will definitely protect the young lord." Galott said to Dawn, "Being disloyal to the young master must never happen again. Don't let me and you be ashamed again. Do you know?" Martin said to Galott seriously, "Father, don't worry. I will never let that kind of thing happen again. I have sworn to defend the young master to the death." Galott promised to his father Martin. "Yeah." Martin nodded in satisfaction. "Well, it's getting late. If you drag on, I'm afraid you won't be able to reach Seos before dark. Let's go." Dawn said to Jason, "Well, father, we're going to set off. Please take care of yourself." After Jason said goodbye to Dawn, he took Galott and set off. Looking at the back of Jason leaving, Dawn said to Martin beside him, "Why do you think this kid has changed so much all of a sudden? Maybe it's God's help. If the young master's ability to upgrade is true, it must be extraordinary in the future." Martin said to Dawn, "I hope so. My Ryan family has gradually declined over the years, and we need a powerful person to revitalize our family." Dawn said, "I believe that a tiger father has no sons. Lord Dawn, your father defeated the Dulligan family together with King Carter and re-established a dynasty for the Carter family. You helped your father and saved the Ryan family during the subsequent family turmoil. Young Master Jason also has the brave blood of the Ryan family flowing in his body. I believe he will not let you down. Martin said to Dawn, "Hey, I hope my father's generation of brothers will not rebel against each other." Hey, I hope my father's generation of brothers and sisters will not rebel against each other. Dawn said, shaking his head. That's hard to say. Lord Bud is a man with a deep city, and he must be on his guard. Martin said to Dawn, It's true that my younger brother is not a good brother, but I don't think he will do anything excessive. Besides, I am not mean to him, so he should have no reason to turn against me. Dawn still believed in his younger brother. My lord, can't you be vigilant about the disappearance of young Master Jason in the Zorn Mountains? As the saying goes, it is necessary to be defensive. Under the attraction of money and full strength, there are cases of relatives turning against each other. It's not uncommon. Martin said to Dawn, Okay, I see. I will pay attention. Dawn said to Martin, So I suggest you, if young Master Jason performs well, you'd better give Seos to young Master Jason. After all, the Bard family seems to have too much power now, and it's still very good for you. Unfavorable. Martin said to Dawn, Martin, why do you firmly believe that Bud and the others will be against me? Dawn asked Martin, My lord, although I don't have much ability, I'm still very accurate in judging people. An ambitious guy like Bud must not be content with the status quo. As long as he has the opportunity, I think he will. Okay, stop talking. I will seriously consider your opinion. I still have some things to do. Let's go back. Dawn interrupted Martin's words and turned his head to leave. In his heart, he was still willing to believe his own brother Bud, even if everything Martin said was reasonable. Seeing that Dawn didn't seem to want to listen anymore, Martin stopped talking and followed Dawn silently. After bidding farewell to Dawn and the others, Jason and Cardeas patted their horses away and soon arrived at the gate of Zorn City. When they were about to leave the city, suddenly a head of white hair was tied with a half-ball head, wearing this a girl in a silver-white battle dress, with a cute aura all over her body, blocked their way. Jason looked at this cute and somewhat outrageous two-dimensional girl and asked, Little sister, why are you blocking our way? My lord, I also want to be your bodyguard, the girl said seriously. As soon as the girl's lowly voice came out, Jason felt like he was going to be turned into a cute girl. Villian, what are you doing here? Galott scolded the girl. Villian, you know this girl? Jason saw that Galott directly said the girl's name, so he turned his head and asked, but when he looked at Galott and compared it with that girl, Jason could tell right away that this was clearly a family. Same hair color, same pupils. My lord, this girl is my younger sister, Villian Owen. Carlady introduced to Jason. Young master, let me be your follower too. I'm also very good. Villian said to Jason. That's enough. Wylian, stop messing around here. Didn't your father tell you? You are not suitable to be an anger master at all. You only have D-level anger, so it is impossible for you to make great achievements. Galott said to his sister, Hey, I don't like listening to what you said. I used to only have D-level anger. According to what you mean, I can't be an anger master. Jason turned his head and said to Galactica, That's not what I mean. Young master, can't you upgrade? This ability is unique and cannot be compared with others. Galott said respectfully to Jason, Villian, right? Tell me why you want to be my follower? Do you admire me a little? Jason boasted a little cheekily. No, I just don't want to listen to my father and be a literati. Villian said without giving Jason any face. Does her father know about what happened when you came out? Jason was a little embarrassed after hearing what Lien said, so in order to ease his embarrassment, he changed the subject. My lord, my father doesn't know. If he knew, he would definitely not agree. Wei Lien said, That's it. Then I can't take you away even more. Let your father know that if I take his precious daughter away like this, he can't hate me to death. Jason said, although that's what he said, but Jason didn't want to mention how much he wanted Villian to be his follower. How nice it is to be accompanied by such a cute little lowly. But after all, his brother is here, and Jason is too embarrassed to directly reveal that he really loves him. That's not good. Oh, my lord, I'm just asking you to beg me. Okay, no, okay. Villian twisted her small waist and said coquettishly to Jason. This came so suddenly, Jason looked at Wei Lian's swaying skirt and a pair of straight white and tender legs that were exposed outside. His face turned red instantly. He didn't know that there was no way to refuse Wei Lian had settled. Yeah, why don't we take her with us? Jason turned his head and asked Galott. No, she sneaked out just by looking at it. How could we take her away without my father knowing? Galott shook his head and said, Then we, Jason said, turning his head to look at Villian, completely dazed again. I saw Villian staring at Jason with big watery eyes, staring at Jason with a pitiful expression, and said to Jason in a coquettish voice, My lord, please, please. Now Jason's inner defense was completely defeated by Villian. Isn't this girl too cute? How can I refuse this? If this girl were placed in modern times, she would definitely be an internet celebrity anchor, and she would definitely fascinate thousands of men and make them crazy. Jason thought to himself, There's really no way to refuse this. Let's take her with us. Jason said to Galott. Yeah. Villian jumped up happily when she heard Jason's words. Her feet in small leather boots hopped vigorously, making a standard Chun-Li jump. The skirt, which was not long at all, immediately floated upwards, and Jason immediately turned his head embarrassed. It's so simple in my heart. It's not appropriate to bump into it with a small deer. At least it's an adult deer. Young master, please forgive me. My younger sister's acting like a baby is definitely one of the best. Basically, except my father, no one can resist it. Galott said to Jason, Then don't say anything. Let's take her, and I will tell your father with a carrier pigeon later. Then don't say anything. Let's take her, and I will tell your father with a carrier pigeon. Jason said to Galott, Well, let's listen to the young master. Galott said to Jason. After that, Jason found the defender at the city gate to find a horse for Villian, and together they left Zorn City and went to Seos. Along the way, the company of the little lowly Wei Lian really added to the boring journey. Everyone was talking and laughing along the way, and soon it was already noon. They had already walked nearly half of the way, and Jason was a little hungry, so he proposed to find a place to eat and take a rest before leaving. It didn't take long for them to see a small hotel on the side of the road. This hotel looked very simple, and at first glance, it might have been opened by people from the nearby village who wanted to start a small business. Jason and the others walked into the hotel and heard a lot of noise in the hotel. It was obvious that someone was drinking and having fun in the hotel. Jason didn't like to be noisy, so he didn't choose to go inside the hotel. So he sat down at a table outside and shouted inside, Is there anyone? A person dressed as a hotel clerk heard the sound, rushed out, came to Jason and the others and whispered, My lord, we are full now, so we won't be picking up guests. Huh? No more customers? We just want to come here to eat something and leave. It shouldn't bother you too much. Jason said to the guy, There's also a hotel not far ahead. Some guest officers. Go there. The clerk urged Jason and the others in a panic. Hey, it's really weird. And there are hotels that don't make money. Jason frowned and said, Hey, you bastard. Why don't you welcome people? Go and serve these guests some side dishes and a jug of good wine. A man with a thick back and a big beard poked his head out of the hotel. After watching Jason and the others for a while, he said to the guy, Mr. Marty, don't I want to drive them away so that I can serve you well? The guy looked even more flustered. Stop talking nonsense. Just do whatever I tell you to do. Go quickly. The man named Marty showed an impatient look and said to the boy, Yes, I'm going. The guy was obviously very afraid of the man named Marty, so he immediately agreed and ran back to the hotel to prepare things for Jason and the others. When passing by Marty, Marty whispered to the guy, If you dare to talk too much, be careful that I will cut your tongue. The guy was so frightened that he shuddered and immediately went to prepare food and drinks for Jason and the others. After the guy left, the man named Marty smiled and shouted to Jason and the others, If you don't mind us roughnecks, come over and join us. No, we have to hurry after eating. It's good to sit here. Thank you for your kindness. Jason looked at the unusual guy and felt something was wrong, so he immediately rejected the guy named Marty. Marty smiled and turned his head away and said to the people around him, There are a few people outside, and they look like rich people. They also have a few good horses and a little beauty. There is no, we will be hee-hee in a while. This Marty is actually the leader of a thief, and today he is taking a dozen of his subordinates here to have a king's meal. Do you think there is something wrong with that guy? Jason asked Colradi in a low voice. Well, and seeing that the guy was talking to that man named Marty just now, this man named Marty shouldn't be the boss here. Colradi said to Jason, we have to be careful. I think that guy named Marty is not a good thing. Jason looked at the man named Marty vigilantly and said to Galott. Not long after Jason finished speaking, the man named Marty brought a few people who shook their heads and looked like they were not good things, and walked towards Jason and the others with a few small dishes and wine. Galott silently clenched the sword around his waist and was always ready to fight. Look at the outfits of a few of you. They don't look like ordinary people. The man named Marty came over and sat on the side unceremoniously and said to Jason and the others, how can you tell that we are not ordinary people? We're just ordinary businessmen. Jason and Marty deal with each other. Businessman? Haha, that's a coincidence. We happen to be rangers who specialize in robbing merchants. I think the armor on this guy is pretty good, and it should sell for a good price. And this girl is pretty good. Leave me these and your horses, and then you can go. We are very moral. As long as you keep these things I mentioned, we will not hurt you. Marty smiled and glanced at Wei Lian's snow-white thighs and said to Jason with a smile, what if I don't agree? How could Jason agree to his request? Naturally, he refused without hesitation. Disagree? Haha, brothers. He said he disagreed. What do we do? Marty turned his head and said to the few people behind him, then cut off his head and use it as a chamber pot. Ha ha ha. Several subordinates behind Marty said with a smile, bold. You stupid fellows, do you know that this is the son of Don Lane, the king of the southern border, and you speak wild words? Galott stood up straight up as he spoke, pulled out his saber, and said, he, Don Ryan's son? Then I am his old man Don Ryan. Huh. Seeing that Galott had drawn his sword, Marty immediately stood up, took out a low-quality scimitar, and said to Galactic disdainfully. Marty's little brothers also took out all kinds of weapons one by one, and stared at Galott. Hey, brother, this sword is not bad. It looks like it is made of high-quality steel. Now my requirements have changed, and your sword must also be kept. Marty said with a smile, arrogant guy, I will make you a dead soul under my sword. As he spoke, Galott released armed anger directly, wrapped his sword, and swung the sword at Mati, who immediately jumped back and hid. It turned out to be a sea-level anger master. Not bad. Let me meet you. As Marty spoke, he also released his armed anger, which was also blue anger, covering his scimitar. He rushed towards Galactic quickly, and fought with Galactic, while Marty's subordinates rushed directly towards Jason and Villian. Little girl, are you afraid? Let me protect you. Little girl, are you afraid? Come and let me protect you, brother. A slick man said to Wei Lian with a cheap look and walked towards Wei Lian. Jason originally wanted to protect Villian, but unexpectedly, Villian made a pitiful gesture and said to the man with big eyes blinking, brother, come and protect me. Huh, my brother is here to protect you. When a man saw that Wei Lian had taken the initiative to seduce him, his sperm went to his head in an instant, and he rushed towards Wei Lian directly. The moment the man was about to hug her, Wei Lian stood up, with blue armed anger attached to her hands. Grab that person's head and break it hard, only to hear a click, one sound. The sound of bones breaking came, and the man's head had already been snapped back by Wei Lian, and he died. Good fellow, this little girl is really ruthless. Jason was really taken aback when he saw that Villian had killed the man without blinking an eye, and his neck felt a little chilled. Seeing this, the rest of Marty's followers took a breath for a moment. They didn't expect this cute girl to be so powerful. They didn't dare to move forward, and they all focused on when I saw Jason. I wanted Jason to rush over. Through their actions, Jason concluded that they were nothing more than a group of rabble and directly gathered armed anger on his right hand. The blue-armed anger directly wrapped his right hand, and Jason directly exerted force. With one palm, The table in front of him was broken, and he stood up. Marty's men, who were rushing towards Jason with weapons, were stunned for an instant. This guy is also an anger master, and it's sea level. Marty's subordinates chattered for a while, looked at Jason, and then at Villian, who was full of murderous intentions, but they didn't know where to go. Not a single one of them was angry, and they were all bullying guys. No one wanted to get into trouble, so they retreated unconsciously. You bunch of idiots. Come on. Marty, who was entangled with Galactica, said to his subordinates. Taking advantage of the fact that Marty was not concentrating on talking to his subordinates, Galott swung his sword at Marty. In a panic, Marty raised the scimitar in his hand to block Galott's sword, and with a bang, the weapons of the two collided together with blue-armed anger, sparking bright sparks. Marty stared at Galott and said with a faint smile, "You guy, you actually took the opportunity to attack me? Can you blame me for distracting yourself?" Galott said to Marty, "Hey, your sword is good, but it's too heavy and too slow." "Well, I get it, I'll remake it." After Marty finished speaking, he directly pushed Galott's sword away and nimbly slid the scimitar in his hand towards Galactic's chest. Galactic didn't expect Marty's speed to be so fast. It was too late to take precautions, so he could only gather armed anger in his chest to resist Marty's knife. Galactic has an armed anger defense, and he is wearing a breastplate, which is not a serious problem, but Marty did not let this good opportunity just like this, gathers anger on his feet, and kicks Galactic. Galactic kicked back again and again. Marty grasped the initiative and immediately followed up, slashing at Galott. After all, Marty is a person who has lived on the tip of a knife for a long time. Although Galott is much better equipped than Marty, he is still a little worse than Marty, and he is quickly defeated. Knocked down. Seeing the situation, Jason really thought something was wrong, and he had to find a way to help a group of Galott. With an idea, he grabbed the chair on the ground, injected armed anger, and threw it at Marty. Marty was so focused on Galott that he didn't even notice that a chair with armed anger was flying towards him. Only bang. One sound, Marty is oops. With a sound, he was knocked down by the chair. Galactic took this opportunity to stand up immediately, rushed to Marty's side, and pressed the sword in his hand against Marty's neck. Marty wanted to pick up his own weapon to continue unexpectedly. Jason, who likes to sneak attack at this time, directly gathered armed anger on his feet and stepped on Martin's hand holding the scimitar. "Ah!" Marty growled in pain, let go of the scimitar in his hand, and was completely subdued by Jason and Galactica. "You despicable guys," Marty said angrily, staring at Jason and Galott. "How can you blame us for being despicable? It's because your people are too cowardly. Seeing that we are all anger masters, we dare not go up. You have an absolute advantage in numbers." Jason said to Marty, "You guys, what are you still doing? Come on." Marty looked at his dozen or so subordinates who stood aside and dared not come over and shouted, "It's not good. The patrol soldiers are coming. Everyone run away." Someone in the crowd yelled, and Marty's dozen or so men ran away like wild horses that had run loose. Jason looked up, and there was indeed a group of heavily armed patrols on horses walking towards them in front of them. A bunch of trash. Seeing that his subordinates, whom he called brothers and sisters, abandoned him and fled like this, Marty yelled helplessly. After the patrolling team came here, they saw that there were obvious signs of fighting here, and Galott also pressed his sword against Marty's neck. One of the leading patrolmen asked them, "Who are you? How dare you make trouble here?" "You are the patrol soldiers in that town." Jason asked the leader, "We are patrolling soldiers from Seos. You better answer my question quickly." The lead trainer had already put his hand on his saber as he spoke, ready to fight at any time. "Seos? I am the son of Don Ryan, the king of the southern border, Jason Ryan. I came to Seos to serve as the vice chairman, that is, the deputy city lord, under the order of my father," Jason said, and handed the letter of appointment from his father to the lead patrolman. After the leader opened the letter of appointment and took a look, he immediately knelt down on the ground and said to Jason, "The villain sees the young master. See a young master." After the leader knelt down and saluted Jason, the other patrol soldiers also began to salute Jason. "What? You are really Don Ryan's son? Marty said in disbelief. What? Isn't it like? Jason said to Marty with a smile. Young master, what is going on with you? Young master, what's going on with you? The leading patrolman asked Jason. This guy's a bandit. He wanted to rob the young master, but was defeated by my brother. Willian walked over and said, Obviously, I still have a credit. Okay, Jason reminded Villian. So that's how it is. Young master has frightened you. Come on, tie up this thief, take him back to Sargos, and put him in prison until young master is punished. The leading patrol said to the one behind him. Wait a minute. Jason stopped the patrolling soldiers, and then motioned Galott to remove the sword against Marty's neck, allowing Marty to get up from the ground. Your skill is pretty good. It's a pity to be a thief. How about it? Do you want to consider being my follower? As long as you are loyal to me, you will definitely make your life more comfortable than now. Jason offered an olive branch to Marty. The winner is the king. The loser is the bandit. I don't want to sit in prison like this for the rest of my life. I am willing to be your follower, Marty said to Jason, speaking and kneeling on the ground. Okay, believe me and follow me. It must be your best choice. Get up. Jason was very satisfied and said to Marty, Jason knew that his cousin had always wanted to get rid of him, and this time he went to Seos. Maybe he would make trouble for himself. So Jason still wanted to find more people to protect him. It happened that Marty's skills were quite good, so he took this opportunity to find an extra bodyguard for himself. Jason was still very satisfied. Young master, he is a thief. You are undoubtedly breeding tigers, Galott said to Jason. Employers don't doubt people. Don't worry. Besides, have you forgotten how I took you under my command? You once wanted to kill me. Isn't it good now? Jason said to Galott. Yes, listen to the young master. Galott saw that his dissuasion was useless at all, and he stopped wasting his words, and when Jason took Marty under his command. Jason and others had a quick bite to eat here, and then continued to Sargos under the escort of the patrol. At dusk, a large town appeared before Jason and the others. The thick city walls of this town brought a lot of majesty to the town, and there were more than a dozen energetic sentries on the city walls, watching the sentries moving around, holding weapons, and standing there upright one by one. Seos, we are finally here. This is the town that should belong to me. Jason stared at the three big character Sargos on the city gate and couldn't help but sigh in a low voice. With patrol escorts, Jason and the others easily entered Seos. After coming to the streets of Seos, there was a huge difference from the appearance of Seos in Jason's imagination. It was not as prosperous as he thought. On the contrary, the common people seemed to be living a very difficult life. After walking around the streets of Seos, Jason also walked towards the castle with many questions. Kelly Dalen, who had already received the news that Jason was coming here, was already at the castle of Sargos, quietly waiting for Jason's arrival. Although he was extremely unwilling in his heart, there was nothing he could do. Why didn't Jason, a fool, be killed by those thieves? It would be great if he was killed. Galott said to his entourage, My lord, you don't have to worry too much. Jason Ryan is just a fool. It shouldn't be difficult for your lord to get rid of him, right? The entourage around Galott said to Galott, What do you know, we can't underestimate that kid now. Last time he was able to escape from the mouth of that sea-level angry beast, which shows that he still has some skills. C died for no reason. My uncle will definitely suspect that I did it immediately, and we should think of some more comprehensive plans to get rid of him. Galott took a sip of the wine in his hand and said, My lord, that's what you said. Gallott's entourage said respectfully to Galott, This silly boy is already here. Galott saw Jason approaching the castle from the window and waved at Jason with a half-smile. Jason also noticed Galott, waved to him, and walked straight into the castle, all the way to the room where Galott was. Cousin. Jason enthusiastically opened his arms and walked towards Galott. Brother, you're finally here. Galott also hugged Jason with open arms and said, Oh, cousin, you don't know how dangerous the way I came to find you was, and I also encountered a lot of thieves, so I almost lost sight of you. Jason complained to Galott. I've heard that too, but now it seems that you're fine, so I'm relieved. Galott said to Jason with a smile. Oh yes, I'm lucky. Nothing happened. Cousin, are you disappointed by this? Jason smiled and said to Galott. What do you mean, brother? Galott's expression became serious in an instant, and she stared at Jason and said, Haha, I'm just joking with you. See if you're serious. Jason smiled and hugged Galott again. Your naughty temper hasn't changed at all, Galott said to Jason. The two chatted with each other for a long time before Galott invited Jason to sit down and have a meal with him. After drinking and eating, Jason lay on the chair satisfied, touching his stomach, with a look of enjoyment on his face, seeing Galott's teeth itching, wishing to rush up now and kill Jason, but obviously, if he did that, it would be a complete fire. Brother, are you full? Galott asked Jason. Yes, it's okay. The food here is still delicious. I'm already very satisfied. Jason patted his stomach and said with a smile. It's okay in Seos. You just have to play passionately and leave the other things to me. Galott said to Jason with a smile. Aha, cousin, you know me well and know what I like to do. But this time, after all, I was ordered by my father to help you manage Seos. Let's talk about having fun later. Jason said to Galott with a smile, and handed to Galott the letter of appointment given to him by his father. Galott took the letter of appointment and threw it on the table without even looking at it. She smiled and said to Jason, Uncle Don is really thoughtful. It's great to let you share my worries. These few people behind you, all of them. Oh, they are all my attendants. You can tell by their hair color. They are Lord Martin's son and daughters Galott and Villian. This is Marty. It turns out he is a thief, and now I have subdued him. Oh, they are all my attendants. You can tell by their hair color. They are Lord Martin's son and daughters Galott and Villian. This is Marty. It turns out he is a thief, and now I have subdued him. Jason introduced to Galott. Oh, so they are brothers and sisters of the Owen family. They are really handsome and beautiful, especially this little sister. She is so cute. Galott said as she came to Wei Lian, staring at Wei Lian's face and the white thighs exposed under the skirt. She took a careful look, and Wei Lian was disgusted. Thank you, Lord Galott, for your compliment. Galott intentionally came to Galott to block Galott's view of Villian, and respectfully said to Galott. Galott ignored Galott at all, and walked directly to Jason, lying next to his ear and whispered, This chick from the Owen family is really on time. Cousin, you are blessed. Cousin, you can't talk nonsense. She is my entourage. I don't think too much about her, and I don't want others to think too much about her either. Jason smiled and said to Galott, Well, maybe you just don't have one right now. Come on, arrange a room for my cousin and his entourage, and let them have a good rest. You must be tired after traveling all the way. Galott said to Jason, Thank you, cousin. We were actually tired a long time ago. We really need to take a good rest. Jason said, and left here with Owen brothers and sisters and Marty. After Jason and the others left, Galott opened the letter of appointment that Jason gave him, looked at it, and then threw the letter of appointment aside with a look of disdain. After surviving that catastrophe, this kid really wanted to be a different person. He is really smart, Galott said with emotion. Yes, looking at his state when he spoke, I really want to be very stable, but it seems that he is difficult to deal with. Galott's followers also echoed this. Oomph. I won't let him jump around for long. Galott clenched her fist silently and said. Soon the servants in the castle arranged accommodation for Jason and the others, and Jason and the others drank afternoon tea leisurely in Jason's room. Oomph. The look in the young master's cousin's eyes is really annoying. Wylian said a little angrily. Villian, that's Lord Galott. You have to show some respect. Galott scolded Villian. It's okay. That guy is our enemy now. The first boss we want to defeat, but the way to defeat him cannot be simply by force. Jason took a sip of tea and said, What does the young master mean by this? Galott asked Jason, Do you think that I came to Seos really just to help him manage Seos? This is supposed to belong to my town, and I should be the lord of this town, but I was really disappointed at the beginning. I gave this place to Galott. Now it's all right. I'm back again. Naturally, I want to take this place back. Jason explained his purpose to everyone. The life of a nobleman is really complicated. Marty shook his head and said, and then took a sip of the tea in the cup. The bitter tea made it hard for him to swallow. He swallowed the tea with a painful expression, grinned, and said to Jason, "Young master, why do you like this kind of stuff? It's so good to drink." Huh? Everyone couldn't help laughing at Marty's distorted expression. Tea can make people more sober, but wine can only make people more confused. Now that we had just arrived in Seos, we have to stay sober, because I think my cousin will definitely not be so honest. He will definitely think of various ways to get rid of me. Jason said to everyone, "Young master, don't worry. No matter who it is, as long as it wants to hurt you, I will use my scimitar to cut him into 8 pieces." Marty said and showed his machete. Jason and the others glanced at Marty's machete and couldn't help laughing. "What are you laughing at?" Marty asked suspiciously. "Look at your knife. If there are not 10 gaps on it, there are 9. I'm afraid it will be difficult to kill a chicken, let alone kill someone," Ian said with a smile, pointing to Martin's scimitar full of gaps. "Of this." Marty glanced at the scimitar in his hand. There were too many gaps left in the fight with Galott, which made this knife basically useless. "Speaking of which, your scimitar looks very inferior. What material is it made of?" Galott asked Marty. "A poor person like me, how can I compare with you nobles? I can't afford any good steel. This is made by melting down some farmer's farm tools. It's normal to be no match for your good sword." "Ah," Marty exclaimed. "Okay, we just have nothing to do. I also want to buy a weapon to use. Let's go to the place where you buy weapons on the street and find a better weapon for you to use." Jason said to Marty, "Okay, then I will thank the young master first." Marty was very happy to hear Jason's words and threw away his scrap metal. Everyone left the castle and soon came to a weapons store. The boss of the weapons store knew that Jason and the others were unusual from their attire, so he greeted them warmly. "Guest officers, what would you like to order?" the boss said politely to Jason and the others. "I want to find some better weapons for my followers and me." Jason said to the boss, "That's it, my lord. Please take your side, but the ones on my side are all high-quality goods. You can choose whatever you want." The boss brought Jason and the others with a dazzling array of hangings, all kinds of knives, guns, swords, axes, and forks. The weapons here are all made of high-quality steel, and they are definitely the best. The boss introduced Jason to several people. "Marty, take a look, pick the one you like, and Villian, pick one too," Jason said to everyone. Marty and Villian nodded happily after hearing Jason's words, and they all excitedly picked up their weapons. Marty quickly picked out his favorite weapon, a one-handed double-sided axe. Marty nestled the axe in his hand to feel its weight and took a closer look at his workmanship. He was so satisfied with him that he couldn't be more satisfied. Yin also chose a pair of short daggers, and the small and exquisite daggers are quite suitable for Yin. Jason picked one for a long time, but didn't particularly like it until he saw it. A sword with a hilt made like a running lion caught his attention, and he chose that sword without hesitation. My lord, I can't sell this to you," the boss immediately reminded Jason when he saw Jason picked up the weapon. "Why can't you sell it?" Jason asked the boss. "My lord, you don't know. Once when I was running a business to buy steel materials, I met a bandit. At that time, I almost died. Suddenly, a man with a blonde hair and a figure like a lion gave me after being rescued. He is Don Lane, the king of the southern border. I made this sword for him, thinking that one day I can give this sword to him as a token of my gratitude, so it is not for sale." The boss said to Jason, "Coincidentally, this is Lord Don's son, Master Jason Ryan." Marty immediately said to the boss, "What? You are the son of Lord Don, the king of the south?" The boss said in disbelief, "That's right. Don Lane is my father. Don't you recognize our family's blonde hair and pupils?" Jason said to the boss, "That's right. It does have the same hair color and pupils as the Ryan family," said the boss. "I came to Seos to appoint the deputy city lord on the order of my father. My father has too many good swords. Boss, please sell me this sword. I will express my gratitude to my father. Jason really likes this sword very much. This. The boss hesitated. Oh, boss, what are you hesitating about? This is really the young master of the Ryan family, Jason Ryan. Just give him this sword so you don't have to worry about it all day. Wei Lian suddenly used her stunt, shaking the boss's arm, and said cute and coquettish to the boss. Wei Lian's coquettish look made the boss almost overwhelmed and panicked for a moment. This happened too suddenly. My God, this girl is really amazing. Marty whispered beside him. Hee, this trick will become our secret weapon in the future. Jason said with a smile. Are you okay? Are you okay? Lian shook the boss's arm frantically and said, Okay. I will give this sword to the young master. I hope you will convey my gratitude to Lord Dawn for me when you go back. The boss said, taking off the sword and handing it to Jason. Then thank you very much. Don't worry. I will definitely convey it to my father. Jason took the sword and looked at it carefully, then said to the boss, Well, consider these weapons today as my gift to you, and you don't have to pay for them. The boss said generously to Jason, How can I do that? My father taught me that you can't take anything from anyone for nothing. Taking other people's things for nothing will damage the honor of our Ryan family. Take this bag of gold coins, Jason said, and threw all the money on him to the boss. He knew that these weapons could be expensive, and his own money might not be enough, but he had to give enough face, so he threw all of them on the table and left gracefully. Young master, please go slowly, the boss said as Jason and the others left. Lian also suddenly turned her head and blinked her big watery eyes at the boss, which made the boss blush. It's good to have money, Marty said to Jason, playing with his new weapon. How about it? Are you following me? It's much more comfortable than your days as a thief. Jason said to Marty. Haha, it is indeed much more comfortable, Marty said with a smile. By the way, what stage is your anger at now? Jason asked Galactica. I'm currently a C-level player, which is pretty good. Galott said to Jason. What? Your anger is not bad. It doesn't look like it. You and I are both C-level, and I'm only average. I can hit you without the power to fight back. Marty said, Do you have the strength to fight back against me? It's clear that I won in the end. Okay. Galott said to Marty, Tisich, if the young master hadn't sniped at me at a critical moment, you would have been my murderer for sneaking up on me. Marty said to Galott, It was my carelessness last time that allowed you to take advantage. Otherwise, we will fight again. I will definitely defeat you this time. Galott said to Marty, Come here, don't cry if you lose again. Marty took the axe in his hand and said to Galott, Okay, you two stop fighting. Since you both have such fighting spirit, save your strength. We will go to Zorn Mountain to hunt some angry beast crystals in a few days. Jason told them that Jason knew that his cousin was a B-level Wrathmaster, and he was still a C-level, so he also wanted to upgrade his level quickly, and he had no body now. With no money left, I still want to hunt some anger crystals and sell them for some money. Okay, then I will let you see how powerful I am. Galott said to everyone, Hey, do you dare to make a bet with me? Which one of us will hunt more angry beast crystals when we see it? Marty said to Galott, If you don't dare, just gamble. Galott said to Marty, Then when are we going to leave? I haven't been to Mount Zorn yet, so I'm looking forward to it. Villian said to Jason, Let's go after a good rest. Jason said to Villian. A few days later, Jason took Galott and the others and finally left Seos for Mount Zorn. When Jason and the others were leaving, Galott came to see them off from the city. Cousin, you should be more careful this time. Don't get lost again. Galott said to Jason. Cousin, don't worry. I believe these followers of mine will not abandon me like you did last time. Jason mocked Galott. Cousin, what are you talking about? We were looking for you everywhere that day for a long time. We just left when we couldn't find you. Galott explained to Jason with some embarrassment. Of course I know this. Okay, cousin, you can go back. You don't need to send it off. We can go by ourselves. Don't worry, we should be back soon. Jason said to Galott. Well, be careful and come back soon. Galott said to Jason. Jason nodded and set off with Galott and others. After Jason left, Galott snapped his fingers at the entourage behind him, and the entourage immediately walked over and came to Galott's side. Since he went by himself, let's find a way not to let him come back. Galott said to his entourage. Okay, I understand. I'll do it now. Galott's entourage responded and left. If you insist on going to Zorn Mountain to seek death, then I have nothing to do, and you can't blame me for being cruel. Jason and the others didn't know that there were already more than a dozen professional killers following them to Zorn. Where should we go first to hunt the angry beast crystal? Jason asked everyone after arriving on Mount Zorn. I don't know about this either. I haven't come to hunt angry beasts yet. Galott said. What? You didn't? I thought you did it. What about Marty? You must have experience. No matter what, you've been a robber for so long. Jason asked Marty. We're just robbers. How could we do such a dangerous thing as hunting beasts when we have nothing to do? Marty scratched his head and said, so we came here with such enthusiasm, and none of them has experience? Jason said speechlessly, what kind of experience do you need? Can't you just kill the angry beast and take the angry beast crystal when you see it? Marty said, although there is nothing wrong with saying that, none of us has experience, so we should be more careful. Jason said to the crowd, reminding them to be careful. Okay, so where should we go next? There should be angry beasts in that valley, right? Shall we go and have a look? Marty said to Jason. Then let's go. Everyone just be smart, Jason said, and took the lead towards the valley. The young master doesn't act like someone his age at all. He is so old-fashioned and steady. Marty asked Galactic beside him suspiciously, why do you think about this? Isn't it good to follow a steady master? Galott said to Marty and followed Jason. Hey, I'm just asking. Your ears are not small. Marty said and followed. Jason and the others soon came to the valley. Jason stood in the valley and looked around and found that the surrounding area was bare, except for some rocks and a few patches of bushes. There was nothing else. This is a ghostly angry beast that doesn't even have bird droppings. Jason complained. Normally speaking, it shouldn't be. This valley is already hidden enough. How could there be no angry beasts? Marty said, didn't my father say that the angry beasts on the Cardeas continent are the most numerous species on this continent? Why are they so hard to find? Villian said to everyone, didn't we just arrive here? Let's wait for a while. Let's talk about it. Cardeas said to everyone, okay then, let's just look around. Maybe we'll come across it in a while. Jason said, and pulled out the saber from his waist with a straight bang. Ever since he got the sword, Jason hadn't taken a good look at it. The bright and sharp blade looked extraordinarily bright in the sun, and it immediately attracted everyone's attention. This sword is really good. It looks extremely sharp, Marty said enviously, looking at the sword in Jason's hand. This sword looks like it was forged from the extremely cold steel produced in the northern region. It is definitely top grade. Galott said, what the hell is the cold steel? Jason asked. The extremely cold steel is produced in the extremely cold mines in the extreme north of the Cardeas continent. It is the best steel and the best steel material on this continent. Galott, who is eager to learn since childhood, explained to Jason. You still know this? That's awesome. Jason praised Galott. Of course, all nobles know about this. Galott said to Jason. Jason was full of embarrassment when he heard Galott's words. After all, he was also a nobleman, so he didn't know about it. It can be said that he knew nothing about it. Such a good young sword master. I think you should give it a name. Garrity suggested to Jason. Come up with a name? What should I call it? Jason said, carefully observing the sword in his hand. I think, young master, you should give a more domineering name. Look at its hilt, which looks like a lion running like the family crest of the Ryan family. It's better to have him run Wolf's sword. Villian said to Jason. Jason was speechless for a while after hearing Villian's words. No, Wylian, you've been talking about lions for a long time. At the end, you suddenly said a wolf running sword. Does this have anything to do with lions? Jason asked Wylian in puzzlement. It doesn't matter. I just think the wolf running sword sounds good. Wylian said to Jason with a smile. Jason was completely speechless about Wei Lian's brain circuit. It was really a strange flower. Looking at the galloping look of the lion on the hilt, it's obvious that it looks like it's hunting prey. We should give a similar name. Why not just call him Hunting Lion? What do you think, young master? Galott said to Jason. Hunting Lion? Well, it's a good name. Let's call him Hunting Lion. Jason said, pointing the hunting lion straight into the sky. As expected of a noble, he is well educated and the names he speaks are indeed very good. A rough guy like me can only come up with something like a lion sword or something like that. Marty sighed. Ha. Don't worry. If you follow me well, one day you will become as cultured as Galott. As the saying goes, those who are close to vermilion are red, and those who are close to ink are black. Jason said to Marty. What pig? Mose? What do you mean? Marty scratched his head and asked Jason in confusion. Ha. Marty's words made Jason and the others burst into laughter. When Jason and the others were chatting happily, everyone suddenly heard the cry of a beast. Everyone immediately took out their weapons and cautiously stared around, looking for the source of the sound. Be careful, everyone. It seems that our prey has appeared. Jason said cautiously. Marty clenched the axe in his hand and said, It's finally here. I must take this first drop of blood. It's not sure who the first angry beast is. Galott said to Marty, wielding the sword in Wu's hand. Okay, you two don't make any money. Angry beasts are usually very fierce. You better be careful. Jason said to Marty and Galactica. Suddenly, a leopard with blue eyes shining all over its body jumped onto a rock and roared at Jason and the others. It's such a big cat, and it's sea level. It's just right for me. Prepare to die, T said and rushed towards the leopard. You don't want to compete with me, Garrity said and rushed